them yesterday against Chile.
And that's right, Reese. We did see a lot of great things. We finally saw the offense start to get going. They're maybe capitalizing on certain plays that weren't really working for them earlier on in this tournament. I know that they struggled because the talent level isn't all there for Panama, but in a game like this and the way you played yesterday, they have to be confident going into the final day.
They scored the most points that they have scored in the tournament, 61. They ultimately fell to Team Chile, 67-61 in a very tight game. A lot of good things we mentioned off the top. You know, Lopez, Gunn, two standout guys for them.
And those two guys are the ones that have been primarily taking the shots for Panama. John Gunn only shooting 23% from the field, 19% from the three-point line. That is not good. But we heard him after the game yesterday. He felt like he should have gotten a little bit more aggressive, and he got results.
Look for him to be a lot more aggressive here today. He made a couple trips to the line as well. Able to get the shots to go for him. And then Lopez, hot and cold from beyond the three. We see him take a lot of his shots from beyond the arc.
And he's going to be key for them because he can shoot the three, but a lot of players on Ecuador can shoot the three pretty well as well. Michael Moncayo for Ecuador, leading the team with 17.2 points. He's almost getting three-pointers every single game. It just, he starts to cool off in that second half, so we'll see if Ecuador can maybe play a little bit more of a complete game against Panama today.
Here are the national anthems with tip-off right after. With just under 5 minutes on the big clock above center court, we are almost ready to get day 6 underway. And this is the big one, beginning with Ecuador against Panama. Both teams looking for their first win here this week in St. Catharines. First time this tournament has ever been held here in Canada. And we were talking about Ecuador a little bit before we broke for the anthems. Mentioned Michael Moncayo, his brother, Mateo Moncayo, on the team as well, but another guy that we have to mention that has been a standout guy and provided a little bit of size for Team Ecuador is Aaron Capurro.
And Aaron Capurro, he's definitely the best athlete on their team. He can drive in the lane, he can make his own shot. Sometimes he doesn't take the smartest shots. I think his decision making still needs to improve, but he's played really well for Ecuador. And just to mention about Ecuador, what I've loved from what I've seen so far in all of their games is even though we know that they don't have the talent like teams like USA or Canada or Argentina or even a team like the Dominican Republic, I think that they always compete and they always start really strong. And their issue has always been they haven't been able to play well in that third and fourth quarter. Against a team like Panama, though, where you know that they've struggled throughout this tournament as well, maybe this can be the game that Ecuador can finally put it all together.
And Michael Moncayo is a guy that we've seen thrive in first halves. He's just been on fire, but yeah, you mentioned Team Ecuador sort of getting cold in that second half, and he's been a guy that has been cold and hasn't been making shots in that second half, and maybe because he's logging 34 minutes a game.
And both teams are logging a ton of minutes for their starters, and that's just what happens when you know that your depth isn't as strong as those other teams. So you're going to expect a lot more from your starters every single game. For Panama, we know that John Gunn, Edward Lopez, even a guy like Jesus Lombardo, they play a ton of minutes every single game because they have to play a ton of minutes every single game if they want to have a chance to win. And for Panama, we know that they almost had it yesterday against Chile. It was so close, and it felt at times that this could have been their game, but we kind of saw at the end it was just too much for them to handle, especially in that fourth quarter.
And we thought that Panama would actually pull out with the win because late in that game, Maxwell Lloyd got ejected for Team Chile, and he was huge for them in the game, so we kind of thought Panama caught a break a little bit, just nothing doing for them in the last couple minutes of the game.
And I think their big issue is there's just not enough scoring on this team to really close out games. And Ecuador, even though they don't have a lot of size, they can shoot. So Panama, they have to play great defense, and that's something that I love from what I saw from Panama yesterday. When they were turning the ball over, which is something you never want to do, they were getting back in transition, they were playing smart basketball, making sure they hustle, run, get everyone involved on the offensive side. And when you're a team like Panama, that's how you have to win games.
We've seen it throughout the entire tournament, heart and hustle from both of these clubs who have not had the prettiest road here this week in St. Catharines. Yesterday, Team Ecuador fell to the Dominican Republic 102-70. And on the other side, it was Team Panama, as we mentioned earlier, falling to Chile 67-61 in a much closer game. But these two teams have showed why they're here. They have been a great team. They qualified for these FIBA Americas, and they are very proud of what they've done here.
And one thing to mention, you mentioned that earlier on in the broadcast that Panama had their highest point total was 61 yesterday. Ecuador has proven they can shoot the ball. They've only been under 60 one time, and that was against the United States. So how much really are you going to expect from Ecuador to do in a game like that? So Ecuador, if they start fast, it's going to be hard for Panama to get back in this game. So expect both teams to come out swinging.
Yeah, and a standout number for Team Ecuador. They had 75 on the Canadians in their second game of this tournament. Other games we saw from them, they opened against Chile, lost by 12. We saw a lot. They led at the half, Team Ecuador.
They led by 17 points, so they can clearly build a lead. It's just their issue is they haven't been able to sustain it. But against Panama, I think Ecuador has a great opportunity to do that.
Both teams looking for the first win of the week. It would be huge for either one of them to come out and get in the win column as we're getting ready for the first game of day 6, Ecuador against Team Panama. The winner will get 7th, the loser will fall to 8th in the tournament. Both of these teams unranked coming into this week.
And one matchup to really look at in this game is going to be Kenning Rivera and Jesus Lombardo. Kind of the same stature that both of them have. They don't have a lot of height, but they're both the team's bigs. So we'll see which one of them can really take advantage early on in this game.
Rivera 6'8", Jesus Lombardo 6'4". Both teams are on the court. Going at the scorer's table, making sure everyone's ready. Here we go. The biggest day of the week. Meridian Center, St. Catharines, Ontario, Panama against Ecuador. Ball up for grabs early on, and it's Team Ecuador with the first possession of the game. Michael Moncayo will be saying his name quite a bit here this afternoon. Sanchez. Moncayo for 3. He continues to be hot from beyond the arc.
What a great play to run him wide open, using him more off the ball instead of him being the primary ball handler on that play.
Lopez. Sanchez is on him. Lopez thinks he has a step, tries to go to the basket. He went up, couldn't get the shot off, and will be called on the travel. It'll be an early turnover for Team Panama.
And if you're Panama, you have to run a little bit more on the defensive side. Make sure a guy like Moncayo can't beat you when he doesn't have the ball in his hands.
Moncayo, Andrade on him. Daniel Sanchez off to Edward Sanchez, who's got it. Capurro pulls up, jumper over Lombardo. That one's good for two. Early 5-0 advantage for Team Ecuador. Andrade will look for him to sort of share the ball a little bit. Hasn't been the greatest shooter since their first game against Puerto Rico on Sunday. Looking for a man open, 5 on the shot clock. It's Lombardo going up, using his size to his strength. He beats the defender and gets the first 2 points on the board for Team Panama.
And I think that's where Panama's gonna have to attack a lot in this game. They usually have a huge mismatch in size, not in this game.
Moncayo lost the handle. It's Andrade back the other way with Sanchez back for Ecuador. He'll go up, draw contact, and he'll head to the line and shoot 2 just over a minute and a half in.
And we mentioned that Jonathan Andrade not really found his shot since he missed that game against the States. That was game 2 of the group stage. And for Andrade here, pushing the pace, getting himself going early, maybe getting to the free throw line as he makes the first free throw. Maybe we'll get him going early in this game. Maybe he'll find his groove. He's
been one of the better guys at the free throw line for Team Panama. 63%, not the greatest numbers, but when he makes his trips to the line, he makes them count. Both of them good there for number 4 in red. Edward Sanchez. Capurro's in the corner with Zephyrin on him. Capurro lost the handle for a second, able to dish it out to Sanchez, who drives, stops, and able to put it off the window and in for 2. Advantage back up to 3 for Ecuador.
And that's where Sanchez plays the best, getting a mid-range shot, using the backboard when he has an opportunity. And now Ecuador shooting the ball really well to start this game.
Andrade, nice dish off to Lombardo. I mentioned it, you'll look for him to pass. He found Lombardo down low. And he has just been racking up the assists as this tournament has progressed. Capurro as Rivera set a screen. Capurro will pull up from 3. Comes up just a little bit short, thought he had it. Had the right line, just didn't have the distance. Lopez thought about the 3, Gunn will take it. He makes no mistake, and it's the first lead of the afternoon for Panama.
And efficiency hasn't been his greatest strength in this tournament so far, so for him to make his first shot, especially from beyond the arc, that could be huge for him in this game.
Give and go, Moncayo and Rivera, and it's turned over. Andrade, Capurro back, he'll dish it off to Gunn. Tried the reverse lay-in, couldn't get it to go. And it'll be Ecuador coming back up the court, looking to tie it or possibly take the lead. We've played 3:20 here in the first game of day 6. Sanchez shot off the mark. And it'll be a foul in underneath Team Panama basketball.
And I'm really impressed by the way that Panama has responded by Ecuador shooting the ball so well. They played and they've hustled on the defensive side. They forced a couple turnovers. So for them, the fact that they have this lead after Ecuador kind of started really hot from the field, this could be big.
Andrade with Moncayo on him. Lopez pulls up from the corner, off the mark, ball up for grabs. Who's got it? It's Lopez. He finds Gunn, thought about the 3, decides to drive. Wanted to go over the basket, but I think he'll take the foul and head to the line for 2 shots, looking to extend the Panama lead.
And we saw John Gunn do a couple things already in this game. He had a wide open 3 and he took advantage of that opportunity, but also on the flip side, he got aggressive and he took maybe too risky of a shot when he tried to go underneath the basket, and he didn't capitalize on a turnover by Ecuador. But here, being aggressive again, getting the foul and an opportunity to go perfect from the line now, and he does.
He does go perfect. Now 2-possession game, early stages of this contest. The winner will finish 7th in the tournament. Sanchez tried to find Capurro as the shot just wasn't there for him, just ends up throwing it off out of bounds. turnover for Ecuador, and Team Panama another opportunity to extend the lead. Nice little pass there. Andrade found Zephyrin down low, and he makes no mistake putting it up for 2.
And that's already his 4th assist of this game.
Turnover by Capurro. Lopez back the other way. Off the glass for 2 is Capurro. Nice hustle for him trying to get back and defend. Just Lopez made a nice move and put it off the window.
Ecuador has to be a little bit more disciplined on the offensive side. We saw them turn the ball over by miscommunication on the left side of the court, and then there just turning the ball over, leading to 2 easy shots.
Moncayo can't get it to go. Gunn with the rebound, and he'll carry it up the court. Gunn off the mark. Rebound picked up by Sanchez, and he'll quickly make his way up the floor. Pull-up jumper off the mark. Again, Gunn underneath with the rebound. Lombardo all alone. He has a size advantage on Sanchez. He'll go up and draw contact. Sanchez will pick up the foul.
I love what I'm seeing from Panama so far. Really picking up the pace, making sure when they get turnovers or when Ecuador takes quick shots, they're getting back as fast as they can to take advantage, because we mentioned that they haven't had a lot of size throughout this tournament. But in a game like this, I think Panama, we could say, is the bigger team.
Valles will check into the game for Team Ecuador. Lombardo trying to give his team a 10-point lead here as we just passed the midway mark of the first quarter. He can't hit the second one. It's the aforementioned Valles. Lopez is on him at center. Handoff from Sanchez. Now he gets it back. Nice passing play there from those 2 as Sanchez gets 2 points of his own. Looking for options is Andrade. Decides to give it to Lopez, who's got Gunn up top. Edward Sanchez on him. Gunn driving, able to get around a couple defenders and able to get it into the basket for 2 points, and quickly Panama responds.
He's got 7 points already, John Gunn, and for Ecuador, they have to just be aggressive the same way that Panama's playing right now.
Sanchez making a couple of moves, decides to dish it out. That's Capurro. He drives on his way to the basket, fouled, and he'll make a trip to the free throw line.
And maybe he's the guy to get it going for Ecuador, because we mentioned how great of an athlete Capurro is. He probably is the best bet to kind of get inside, take advantage of Panama not being the quickest team, and get to the free throw line.
Garibaldi will check into the game for Team Panama, seeing his first action of the afternoon. First one hit there from number 13 in white.
And this is a situation that Panama really hasn't been in yet in this tournament. They have an 8-point lead. It was 9 before that free throw. So we'll see how maybe they respond to having the lead and maybe having to try to protect it.
Perfect is Aaron Capurro as Andrade takes a look to his bench looking for instructions from his head coach. That's David Rosario directing traffic. As it looks like Lopez stepped out of bounds to our left. And we've seen that a couple times in this tournament. Actually, more than a couple times in the tournament. Quite a few times players not too sure where they are on the floor, stepping out of bounds, and ultimately it turns into a turnover. And it'll be Rue checking into the game for Team Panama off the stoppage. Sanchez will pull up from 3, air ball. Luckily, he had help underneath as Moncayo picked up the loose garbage. Rivera going up over Lombardo. Holding his face underneath, may have gotten hit there. 18-13, Team Panama leads Team Ecuador. First game of day 6 here at the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship at the Meridian Center in St. Catharines, Ontario. Nice play from Rue as he gets the floater to go.
Offensively, everything's working for Panama right now. Everyone's getting involved. It seems like nothing is missing for them, and this is a completely different team that we've seen all tournament long.
Capurro sees a lane, decides to pull up from the line, can't get it to go. Gunn once again picking up a defensive rebound. Quick pass, Garibaldi underneath, looking for options, decides to kick it out for Rue. Off the mark, who's gonna get it? It's Sanchez. He has Moncayo, finds him. Can't get the lane to go. Garibaldi with the rebound, and quickly back the other way comes Panama. Lombardo. Andrade, Sanchez is on him. 10 on the shot clock. Rue faked it, then pulls up and makes no mistake.
And one issue both of these teams have that we mentioned is that their bench hasn't given them a lot. Adrian Rue, who is a guy who comes off the bench for Panama, he already has 4 points.
Vallis will pull up, no good. Rebound by Andrade. Mateo Moncayo sits to my left. He's ready to come onto the court, of course, playing with his older brother, Michael. Spoke to Michael after a game earlier on in the tournament, saying it's an honor to play with his younger brother and sort of show him the way of how to play at this level. And both brothers have shown signs of life as Capurro will hit a 3 for Team Ecuador, pulling them within 6.
And Ecuador, we saw yesterday, kind of struggle at the end of each quarter. This would be huge for them to kind of cut into this lead as we head into the second.
Andrade. No look pass, Garibaldi off the mark. Ball up for grabs. And it'll go the way of Team Panama as Mateo Moncayo will make his way onto the floor, as well as Borbua for Team Panama. So both teams rotating guys in here in the first quarter with exactly 1 minute to go, 4 seconds on the shot clock. I don't know if they recognize it. It didn't look like they knew. Be a turnover, and Ecuador will look to get even closer as we near the end stages of the first quarter. Sanchez, handoff, Vallis, got it right back to Sanchez. In the corner, 3, no good there from Mateo Moncayo. Gunn taking lots of time, making his way up the floor. 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. His team leads by 6. 5 on the shot clock. They're gonna have to shoot, it's Rue. Tried to go off the glass, couldn't get it to go. Fresh shot clock up to 14, a nice play underneath by Garibaldi. Capurro, last possession of the quarter to Team Ecuador. As they can't hit the 3, time will expire. We're at the end of the first 10 minutes of game 1 on day 6. 24-16, Team Panama leads Team Ecuador. They'll take a break, we'll take a break, come back for the second 10 minutes.
Now that's how to mop the floor quickly.
If you're going to dream, dream big.
Here at Agri College, we specialize in dreams.
And with the right amount of determination.
You can achieve anything.
When opportunity rings, pick up an answer.
Apply yourself.
This is your future.
Your passion.
Your life.
So what are you waiting for? Dream big and apply today.
As we get ready for the second quarter to get underway, Joe, taking a look at the first quarter stats, what stands out to you?
I think one important thing for Panama is that John Gunn, the guy that got it going early for them yesterday, he's kind of started where he left off. He's got 7 points, 5 rebounds as well. And we mentioned Jonathan Andrade, a guy that has struggled to shoot the ball in this tournament. He only has 2 points in this game, but he has 6 assists, which is something that can maybe get him going offensively.
We are underway to begin the second frame of this classification game. Winner will get 7th place in the tournament this week. We mentioned Gunn, he's been hot. He'll pull up. Can't get it to go, but a nice job by Garibaldi underneath, who finds Gunn driving the lane and drawing contact. He'll shoot 2. Team Ecuador not too happy with the call.
And we haven't seen a lot of offensive rebounds from these two teams throughout this tournament. But Garibaldi, a great find there. And then to get it back to Gunn, who continues to stay aggressive in this game. An opportunity at the line. This is his second time at the line. He hit both the previous.
One thing I'm noticing here on the stat sheet is that there's a lot more guys that have got on the court for both teams. And that's something we've seen throughout the tournament, is where these two teams will roll the same 5 or 6 guys through the first half, and then eventually they'll get fatigued and they'll get tired by the second half and the end of the game.
Well, one thing is that maybe both these teams kind of realize that they're more on the same level and the talent level on both teams is more equal. Maybe they have a little bit more confidence in their bench to come in and give them better minutes.
You see Duque out there. He's number 2 in red. He guards Mateo Moncayo. He sees his first action of the afternoon. It's Capurro looking for something to open up. 9 on the shot clock. He saw a lane for a second, but it quickly closed. His pass will make its way to the Team Panama bench out of bounds, and it will be a turnover.
They can't make those mistakes if they want to get back into this game. It's almost been like both teams are playing the way that we thought the other team would play. Panama is the one who's starting strong, and Ecuador is the one who really can't find their groove offensively.
Duque, he's in the corner, being hounded by Moncayo. Borbua lost the handle on that one. Rivera picked up the loose change, quickly finds Capurro, who will drive, sees a lane, but underneath saying no there was the defensive Team Panama. Now from the corner, that 3-ball attempt no good. Rivera underneath fighting for it, and it'll go off the hands of Borbua and out of play.
And that's great that Ecuador can get another possession. I like what I see from Rivera being aggressive inside, but for Edward Sanchez, I think he needs to take a better shot. That's a contested 3 that's not going to get you back in this game.
Capurro makes a move around Garibaldi, tried the 2-handed slam, couldn't get it to go. And it's Gunn carrying it up the floor. Garibaldi, wide open 3, he'll take it and make no mistake. Hey, take what they give you, number 8 did.
Right now, this is a completely different Panama team. I'm so impressed by the way they're shooting the ball. We mentioned that they've only got over 60 points once so far in this tournament. They already have 28 with 8 minutes left in the second.
Great ball movement as they work it around the perimeter. Finishing it off there is Mateo Moncayo from beyond the arc. So a quick answer from Team Ecuador, looking for some way to try and get back into the contest.
And we know that Ecuador likes shooting the 3, but they're only 2 for 8 behind the arc. We'll see if that shot gets them going, especially outside of the perimeter.
Sanchez off the turnover. He's got it again. Mateo Moncayo. Sanchez, 10 seconds to shoot. Mateo will pull up from 3 again, can't hit it. And it's Duque underneath, pulling down the board. Just under 7.5 to go here in the second quarter. Team Panama up against Team Ecuador, and Panama leading by 9. Garibaldi pull-up jumper. And it does not fall for him with 4 white uniforms underneath the basket. They easily come up with the rebound. Capurro. Nice move around the defenders. That was Garibaldi who led him through, but the ball will make its way out of bounds, and it'll be Team Panama basketball as they make a substitution. It'll be Sanger coming onto the court. He replaces Duque, and Lopez will also make his way back onto the floor. He'll replace Gunn.
And one thing for Ecuador that they need to improve on in this game, they need to play more like a team, and that's something we've seen from them all tournament long. But right now, a lot of dribbling by guys like Capurro and Edward Sanchez. They need to move the ball a little bit more to get other players involved.
Borbua went to the lane, couldn't get it to fall. But he'll take the 2 free shots from the line, giving him an opportunity to get his team to 30 points. As to our right, Team Panama head coach David Rosario giving some last-minute advice to 3 of his guys as to what to do if Borbua misses this. That trip to the line unsuccessful for Borbua. In down low, that's Rivera going up over Borbua. 2 points go to number 12 and white. Now it's a 7-point lead for Team Panama. Garibaldi up top, Rue wants to drive, he does, and is fouled. He'll head to the line. So Team Panama continues to drive, get contact, get free shots. It's just a matter of capitalizing.
And right now, Ecuador, they're frustrated because we saw they were in foul trouble early on in that first quarter. Now already 3 in the second. It seems like they're playing good defense, they're playing tight. It's just, they have to make sure that when they're making contact, it's with the ball and not with one of Panama's players' arms.
3 fouls in, and we haven't played 4 minutes yet in this third quarter, but Team Panama can't find a way to get the job done at the line.
And that's one of those statistics that you always look back at the end of the game, and if you don't win, that's the first thing you see if you did well. And if you win, usually it's because you were successful from the line.
And we saw that earlier on in the tournament. Team Chile lost by 3 points to Team Puerto Rico in the quarterfinals. The difference clearly in that contest, Team Chile was 12 for 25 from the line. They make 4 more of those. They have a berth in the U19 World Cup next year. But it will be Team Chile up against Team Dominican Republic. They will be the second game here on day 6. Winner of that will get 5th place, and they're gonna call a travel on Lombardo. Turnover for Team Panama. Ecuador will look to get this within either a 6-point or a 5-point game, but we'll take a timeout. Team Panama.
And right now it feels like Panama's starting to kind of lose their cool, lose their momentum in this game. A travel there. We've seen they've been getting to the line but not capitalizing on their free throws. They need to play a little bit more disciplined because we know that Ecuador can shoot, especially from behind the line. So even though they're up by 8 right now, this is a lead that can disappear really quickly.
5:40 to go, second quarter, 29-21. Team Panama leads Team Ecuador. This is the 7th place game. Winner will obviously get 7th, loser will fall to 8th. Both of these teams are unranked coming into this tournament. Looking at field goal percentages, both teams not shooting great, 30% and 50% respectively.
And for Panama, even though that things haven't really gone your way in the past couple minutes, you're still up by 8. You still have something that you can look up on that scoreboard and be proud of right now. So they need to just continue to play hard, even though things, again, aren't going their way right now. If you just play the way you did in that first quarter and a little bit earlier on in the second, they should be okay heading into halftime.
Both teams looking for their first win here at the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship. We have seen signs from both teams about why they should be here. They've worked hard, they've shown a lot of heart, and they are very proud to represent their respective countries. Rivera's 3-ball well off the mark, off the timeout. That's not what they wanted off that timeout. They wanted a quick score, even though Team Panama called the timeout. Now it'll be Panama's opportunity. Sanger going up. Garibaldi gets the 2 points to fall, and off the timeout, full court press. Maybe that's the game plan the rest of the half.
And Garibaldi's been giving Panama really good minutes. He's got 7 points now.
He averaged 13.9 minutes through their first 5 games of the tournament. Loose ball up for grabs with help from Lombardo. It's Sanger coming down with it as Lopez tried to make a move and went off the hands of Sanchez and out of bounds.
And for Ecuador, we see Panama make a couple good plays in the past couple possessions. Here's your opportunity to play some good defense, maybe translate it into some offense, as that is not the case. A 3 for Panama, up 13. This has to be their biggest lead of the tournament.
That was Lopez hitting that one. We've said it, the majority of the shots he takes is from beyond the arc. And when he's hot, but when he's cold, so it's good to see him making some baskets here in the first half.
They need to get Michael Moncayo more involved in the offense right now. He hasn't even taken a ton of shots. He's the guy that's been leading you in the first half for most of your games. They need to run the offense a little bit more through him.
He just took that 3-ball attempt from the corner, unable to get it done, as Lombardo comes back for Team Panama. Gets 2 points for him, and it's a 15-point lead for the men in white and red. Sanchez. In the corner. 3 no good. That was Mateo Moncayo, the brother of Michael the older one. Lopez, Rue. Sanger. Good ball movement from Team Panama as they're able to get to the lane. And it's an offensive foul on Rue. And it looks like Team Ecuador is going to call a timeout after this play.
As we take a look at this play right here, I like the aggression by Panama and Rue, who's made a couple baskets in this game. But a play like that could energize your team maybe. You know, he's putting himself in harm's way for the betterment of your team, and for Ecuador, nothing really is going your way right now. With 3:21 left in the second quarter, you make a couple shots, you get your star players more involved on offense. Maybe you can go into halftime looking a little better than
36-21, Team Panama leads Team Ecuador. They'll draw something up and get ready to finish off the second quarter from the Meridian Center in St. Catharines.
Now that's how to mop the floor quickly.
Welcome back inside the Meridian Center. Joe D'Agostino along with Reese Dumaney for first game of day 6 here at the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship. Thank you so much for tuning in. Team Panama, Team Ecuador have kicked things off, and it's been all Team Panama so far in this one, but quick response off the timeout. That's Mateo Moncayo. That's his second 3-ball of the afternoon. Quickly, but Panama making their way up the court. Gunn back on the floor for Panama. Garibaldi has done well off the bench as he tries to go up off the glass. Has some help from Gunn, who can't get it to go. Still got the ball. 3 white jerseys around him. Able to dish it out. Lopez thought about the 3, didn't take it. Gunn can't hit it. And a collision with Michael Moncayo. A little bit shaken up is Michael, but he gets up quickly as Garibaldi hits the jumper.
And Garibaldi gets the basket, but all the credit should go to John Gunn. A couple offensive rebounds on that play. He never gave up, and it gives Panama an opportunity to score multiple times on one possession.
Also a good battle up top with Michael Moncayo. Capurro. Got to get him going as well as he goes up, and nothing doing on that attempt. Number 13 in white. Just over 2 minutes to go here in the first half. We're not used to seeing this play from Ecuador. They have been the team in the first half that we have looked for to get up early. Just Team Panama has been countering very well as the pass from Sanger through the legs of Lombardo, but right to Lopez. Lombardo's like, yeah, I meant for it to go through my legs right to you.
And if you're Panama, you have to be unbelievably happy with how you're playing so far. For Ecuador, you just need to start shooting the ball better. Right now, they're shooting 26% from the three-point line. Usually that number is way up.
Moncayo drives. That pass from Mateo Moncayo goes off of Lopez and into the Team Panama bench. It'll be out of bounds in Ecuador basketball.
You have to maybe think that that game that Panama played yesterday, where they were so close to winning against Chile, it gave them that confidence to come out and play the way they're playing right now against Ecuador.
Mateo Moncayo inbounds to Capurro, thought about the jumper, didn't take it. Dished it off to Rivera, who's fighting for it. Good play from him. Ballas. They ran out of time, not great clock management. We saw that from Panama earlier on as well, not really recognizing how much time they had to shoot. So it'll be a turnover for them, but a timeout called by Team Panama late stages of the second quarter.
And when you're down by 17 points, you have to play smart and you have to play disciplined, and that's not what Ecuador's doing. They're turning the ball over, and even guys like Aaron Capurro, who we mentioned can be aggressive, he's just not taking the smartest shots in the world right now. So Ecuador has to kind of get back to basics. They played well in the first half. We know what they're capable of. So right now they're underperforming, but still with a whole half to go and a minute left in this second, try to get things going right now for them to build off of into the third.
Capurro 7 points so far on the afternoon. They came all in that first quarter, so he has been cold. Mateo Moncayo, though, as you see him there, he has 2 3-pointers of his own, so maybe look for Team Ecuador to get him the ball and try to cut at this Team Panama lead.
But even on that note, Mateo Moncayo still 2 for 6 from the field, not shooting the ball particularly well. Michael Moncayo 1 for 6, Aaron Capurro 2 for 8. These are your guys that you expect to give you a ton of points, and they're more the driving force on why Ecuador was playing so well in a lot of those games.
Another stat to note through 1 quarter of play, only 2 shots from the line for Team Ecuador, whereas Team Panama continued to drive the lane and continued to draw contact. Yeah, they didn't make every free throw that they had, but they were still forcing the issue, making Ecuador foul. And Ecuador was in foul trouble to start this second quarter. They had 3 before we had hit the 4-minute mark. They haven't fouled since, so that's good news on their end, but they got to find a way to score quickly as minute and change left to go in this second quarter. Panama continues to lead 41-24.
And one thing we really haven't talked about a lot is that Panama's not really fouling a lot. They're playing disciplined, they're playing smart, they have active hands right now, so they're really, and which is one of the reasons why Ecuador's turning the ball over so much, but they're also smart enough to know that there's a time and place when to reach for the ball, and that's what they've been doing.
1 foul so far in the second quarter for Team Panama. Gunn checks back into the game. He replaced Zephyrin. We've got less than a minute to go here in the second quarter. Andrade, he'll pull up, can't hit it. It comes right back to him. Garibaldi, who's come off the bench and done a nice job for Team Panama. 5 on the shot clock. Gunn's got it. Look for him to possibly shoot it. 2 white uniforms on him. Time will run out as the ball made its way to Lopez, but it'll be Team Ecuador possession. Andrade quickly hustling back on Mateo Moncayo and giving a high five there to his teammate Gunn.
And that's what you need if you are Ecuador to get back in this game. You need to play hard defense.
Andrade quickly checks out of the game. Sanger coming on for him. .36 seconds to go. Timeout, Team Ecuador. They'll try to draw something up because they got to find their way offensively in this one.
Again, look for Michael Moncayo. He needs to be the guy to get it going. He had 21 points yesterday in the first half, only 3 today.
Another standout note, he's averaging 17.2 a game, so definitely underachieving. For number 7 in white, we'll take a timeout as they take a timeout. We'll come back to the Meridian Center in just a moment. (41-24), Team Panama leads Team Ecuador here. Live from the Meridian Center in St. Catharines, Ontario, 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship. Game 1 of day 6, and this is the big one. This is where the hardware will be handed out. The day starts here. Ecuador, Team Panama. They're fighting for 7th place here in the tournament. Both teams unranked coming in. So definitely something to prove for both of these clubs as they're looking for their first win of the week. Capurro, got to get him going. Moncayo will pull up from 3, can't hit it. Rivera on the rebound. He's fouled, and that's something that Ecuador has to start doing more of going forward.
And maybe he's the guy to get it going for them, because we mentioned Capurro and Moncayo not playing particularly well, but Rivera at least has some size, and he shot the ball at an efficient rate, 2 for 4, so maybe get him going a little bit more.
He's able to make the first one. These free throws become huge, especially at the end of quarters, at the end of halves, and especially at the end of games. Perfect trip there for number 12 in white. Quickly up the court, Lopez to Garibaldi being double teamed. And the foul will be called on Mateo Moncayo right in front of us. Now up to 4 team fouls for Team Ecuador.
But I like what I saw here from Ecuador. Try to get aggressive. You try to make something happen to build some momentum going into the final stretches of this quarter.
Looks like they're trying to figure out, look, I think it's the shot clock. Head coach David Rosario will give some last minute advice to his team, using this as sort of a timeout. It'll read 17.1, 17 on the shot clock, so more than likely the last possession of the first half. 10 seconds. Lopez, he'll pull up from 3 off the mark. Who's got the rebound? It's Gunn. Lombardo now. He gave it away. Capurro's gonna have to shoot. It's off the mark. And well late of the buzzer. Team Panama very happy with their effort here in the first half. They lead 41-26 over Team Ecuador.
And right now, Panama is really just beating Ecuador in every facet of the game right now. They're out hustling them, they're out shooting them, they're moving the ball better than Ecuador. This has been a great game by Panama, and this has been the best half they played so far.
Take a look at the stats here from the first half. 29% Team Ecuador, Panama 50%. And it's the same all across the board, except free throw wise, Ecuador is perfect.
But they only got to the line 4 times, and that's why they've been shooting the ball so well from the line. So for Panama, look at the rebound differential, 27-13, assists 13-6. They're just moving the ball better, they're out hustling them. Speaking of rebounds, John Gunn, he was the story for Panama. He was great for them all half long, 8 points and 9 rebounds. He's already nearing a double-double.
Even the assist total was a standout number between the two clubs, and Jonathan Andrade leads the way for Team Panama, 6 for him. Garibaldi leads the way in points for Team Panama. He came off the bench in this game, and you see, got 9 rebounds for Panama.
And I think in a game like this, you mentioned coming off the bench, Panama outscoring Ecuador 14-6 from their bench. So both of these teams really haven't gone in much from those extra players in their rotation, but today it has been the difference for Panama.
Moncayo, 6 points on the day. Got to get him going. He's been the man in the first half. Maybe we'll see him show up in the second half here, maybe a little bit of reverse psychology.
Well, we saw the roles reversed a little bit between these two teams in this first half, so you never know. There's still tons of time left for Ecuador to get back in this game.
41-26 at the end of 20 minutes of play. We'll come back to the Meridian Center right here in St. Catharines for the second half. You've been watching the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship.
Up. Oh, Gabriel check. That's too much, too strong. Dunk it, baby! Makes you go drive hard to the basket. Gatto. But Matt is there and he's denied by Justice. Come on now. Ball now into the hands of Hammond, feeds it into Benny with a two-handed hammer jam. Chile survived.
So that's how to mop the floor quickly.
The opportunity for the students in this program is really great. As a coordinator, I've quite often had calls from employers asking if they have any students to hire, and I always have to say, no, I don't have any students. They've all been taken. So the job opportunities when they graduate from this program are really good. The other they get 16 months of paid co-op, so they do have a lot of industrial experience by the time they graduate.
The faculty is really helpful. Like if ever we have questions regarding anything about our program or the real world, like industry and things like that, they have great knowledge about everything, and we can go up to them and ask them anything and everything, and they are more than willing to help us.
Learning the theory and the mathematical basis for why mechanics and materials function the way they do, like the physics of the natural world as it pertains to mechanical engineering, that for me was the most interesting and the most beneficial.
The hands-on experience is really great for when they go out into industry. They work on the CNC, they work in this materials lab here, they program robots, all stuff that's totally applicable to industry.
This crowd is going to be loud here. They really get behind the team.
World Cup qualifiers were meant to bring basketball home to the home nations.
Vargas drives in and scores. The party's on. Now Brasino flies in. Goes Harley A. Carter on the putback. 4-on-1, back to Grass. Roll! It goes in for the dunk. Scola. Wow. So in, and Samus Reyes flies in for the dunk. What a play that is!
Right, that's what it means.
Great win for the Uruguayans.
Welcome back inside the Meridian Center here in downtown St. Catharines. It's 41-26 advantage in favor of Team Panama, They lead Team Ecuador. The winner of this game gets 7th place. Along with Joe D'Agostino, I'm Reese Dumaney. That first half, we saw a lot of good things for Team Panama as they came off a really good game yesterday, and Lopez is one of those standout guys.
And we expected him to be one of those standout guys for Panama because he's the guy who we know that can shoot the ball well, especially from behind the line. So now Lopez an opportunity to maybe extend this lead a little bit more. Panama's never been in a situation like this. They've never led by 15 points going into halftime. Usually they've been trailing, so we'll see. But Lopez, you know that he has confidence in his shot, and it seems like every game when Panama needed something desperately, he was the guy, and today he has been as well.
Lopez has 8 points, shooting 50% from beyond the arc, 50% in total from the field. So again, look for him in that second half, and Jesus Lombardo, the big man, is getting the job done as well.
And for Jesus Lombardo, we expect him to play well, especially with his size.
John Gunn as well. He has 8 points through 20 minutes of play. Our own Anthony Gallo standing by with his family.
What's going on? I'm here with John Gunn's father. So, how are you doing today?
Doing great, thanks, having fun.
What do you think about this whole tournament so far?
Been really fun to be here. We watched a few games other than Panama, and it's been really fun.
How proud are you your son to play for Panama?
Oh, it's been great. This is his 4th time competing internationally, and it's been a really awesome experience for him.
So it's been a tough tournament so far. You guys got a real chance to pull out a victory tonight. How important is it to grab this victory to end the tournament like this on a high note?
It'd be great for the team. These kids have worked really, really hard. Obviously, they're up against some really tough competition here. So it's going to be really great to see them get a win tonight, we hope.
John's been great. The team's been great tonight. Thank you for this interview. Good luck the rest of the way.
You bet, thank you. Proud of you guys. Go Panama.
Thank you.
Wise words from Mr. Gunn about his son. Yeah, he's been a standout guy for Team Panama, and I can't even count the number of times I've said his name.
Well, John Gunn's been the guy for them that kind of keeps their offense rolling. We mentioned that Lopez can make those big shots, but consistently throughout the game, it's John Gunn who's trying to take over the game and trying to keep Panama in it. Obviously, he hasn't shot the ball efficiently throughout this tournament, but these past couple of games, he's really improved his game, and he's really showed why he's one of Panama's best players.
Take a look at Aaron Capurro on the other side. His first half marks aren't the prettiest. He played all 20 minutes, only coming down with 7 points that all came in the first quarter.
And if you are Ecuador, I know that Capurro has a ton of confidence in his game, but he's shooting 2 for 8 from the field, and one of the things we noticed is he's not taking great shots. So he just needs to maybe think a little bit more, maybe pass the ball a little bit more to some of his teammates who we know need to get going as well.
Sanchez, one of those guys. He's got the ball to Rivera. Jumper good, nice start to the half for Panama, or Ecuador. Andrade has been the man to hand the ball off. Garibaldi, who came off the bench, had a nice first half for himself. Gun spinning, going up, can't get it to go. Who's got the rebound? They're gonna call a foul underneath. Daniel Sanchez will pick it up. It'll be Panama basketball underneath Lombardo off the inbounds quickly to Andrade. As Moncayo pokes it out of bounds, Panama will keep it. 12 seconds on the shot clock.
So far, Ecuador making Panama work on this possession. Couple of inbounds already, and for Ecuador to score on their first possession, maybe this is the start that they really needed.
Andrade kicks it out. Garibaldi right back to Andrade. Pulls up from 3, can't hit it. He took the shot right in front of his bench. Garibaldi with a steal, but he can't finish underneath as he tried to go up off the glass. Sanchez had the wide open 3, faked. Up top, Capurro. Moncayo looked good from where we were, just off the mark. As Lombardo, nice hustle by him, just unable to keep the ball in bounds, and Ecuador will regain possession.
And on that possession right there, that's a shot that we've seen Moncayo make all tournament long. It just, his rhythm is off. It looked good. It just doesn't seem like the ball is kind of going in his favor.
Sanchez with 10 on the shot clock. Capurro Jumper, good for him. That's first 2 points for number 13 in white of the half.
And we mentioned that Capurro had to take smarter shots on that play. He got his feet kind of settled. It wasn't a shot that was kind of off balance, and that's the reason that it went in.
Lopez missing on that mark. See Capurro 9 points on the afternoon, shooting 2 of 7. He's got it again, will pull up, and gets the friendly roll. He might be getting hot.
And again, those are the type of shots that you need to take to get yourself back in the game. Making sure it's not contested, you're on balance, and Capurro, it's good to see him getting it going.
Down to a single-digit lead. This is what we're used to seeing Ecuador come out like in the first half. Very hot, shooting very efficient. Turnover, Ecuador basketball. Capurro pushing the pace. He's fouled on his way to the basket. And it'll be an inbound. He will not shoot 2 shots. He thinks he will, as he is already at the free throw line. Wanting to shoot 2, a little bit confused. But he was not fouled in the act of shooting, clearly on the floor. Sanchez. He'll drive, put it up off the glass, no good. Got his own rebound, putting it back up. Couldn't get it to go as a couple of red jerseys underneath. His gun was ultimately the one to pull it down. Dished it off to Zephyrin, who lost the handle. But it looks like it went off the hands of Daniel Sanchez out of bounds. Zephyrin, Lopez to Gunn. From 3, over top of Edward Sanchez. Nice play there from Gunn.
It took a couple possessions for Panama to get back in it, but John Gunn, like we said, consistently throughout the tournament, he's the guy who's trying to keep it going for Panama.
Lead back up to double digits, Sanchez. Capurro, he'll pull up from beyond the arc and he can't hit it.
And that's not really his shot.
It's Gunn. Lopez. His pass was off the mark, and it's Capurro intercepting it, but Gunn down, all out. Capurro didn't realize he had Sanchez. He'll collect the 2 points anyways as he slams it down with both hands.
And Ecuador keeping themselves in the game right now. I like the hustle. Panama as well. They were both trying to get that ball. Capurro, maybe not the smartest decision. He probably should have got it to Sanchez there, but with a nice finish like that, no one's going to complain.
Sanchez gave him the look like, come on, man, I'm wide open, let's go. But I think he's happy his team collects the 2 points, but Gunn quickly responds. Moncayo looking to get it going offensively. Capurro again. And they're gonna call a charge on number 13. He ran over Rue on his way to the basket.
We've seen great stuff from Capurro in this third quarter, but he needs to pass the ball a little bit more. It seems like every single time he touches it, a couple dribbles, an attempt to drive into the basket. There's a ton of great shooters on his team that if he can try to maybe get something going for someone else, plays like that will come a lot easier.
Capurro up to 13 points here this afternoon, 6 of them coming in the last 4 minutes and change. Rue in front of his own bench. Bounce pass in down low, went nowhere for Zephyrin. Lopez falling down out of bounds. Ecuador basketball. Substitution Sanchez coming on for Ecuador. He'll replace Daniel Sanchez. With just under 5.5 to go in the third quarter. Panama continues to lead Ecuador 46-34. Here in the first game of day 6, Sanchez quickly off the bench, drives, can't get it to go. But Andrade, nice work as 2 white uniforms were on him. Andrade, Rue, Andrade. Great ball movement. Almost got it to go with Zephyr underneath. It just went off his hands. Back the other way comes Team Ecuador. Sanchez, nice pass to Moncayo, who makes a couple of moves and gets the bucket to go, plus the foul.
Michael Moncayo still only 3 points after making the first shot of this game for Ecuador. Huge opportunity for him to get himself a little bit more in sync in this game. And if you are Panama, you have to watch yourself because only 10 points. We know that Ecuador can shoot, especially if Moncayo starts to go off.
Mr. Moncayo, the captain for Team Ecuador, only 3 points through 20 minutes of play. Just picked up 4 and 5, looking for number 6. Can't get it to go as it just came up a little bit short. Lopez pushing the pace the other way, but he turned it over to Moncayo. He is fouled and a short vacation from the free throw line. He'll head back and shoot 2 this time.
And for Ecuador on the defensive side, we saw a couple possessions ago, Panama really moving the ball well, trying to get everyone involved, but it was Ecuador's great defense that forced a turnover. And then on the flip side, Panama, they need to control the ball a little bit more. I like what they're doing on the offensive side, but defensively, we saw that they were getting back in transition a lot better as opposed to the way they are today.
Jesus Lombardo back into the game for Team Panama as Moncayo hits the first one. Second one no good. Lombardo with the rebound. But it'll be Ecuador basketball underneath as Borbua picks up a foul.
And this is your chance for Ecuador to maybe string some good possessions in a row. We saw Moncayo make that and one opportunity despite missing the free throw. He gets to the line here, and now another turnover by Panama. That's 3 straight possessions. They've turned the ball over. Ecuador needs to get some points here.
They could get it within a 2-possession game. They would have to hit a 3. If you're them, you might want to settle for a 2 just to slowly chip away at the lead. In the corner, Moncayo couldn't get the 3 to go. Rivera on the rebound. It's Vallis now for Ecuador. He'll pull up just short. Jesus Lombardo.
And that's 2
on
great
the rebound.
shots by Ecuador.
Off the rebound, it looks like it went off Vallis out of bounds. Ecuador thought it went off a gun, but the officials say otherwise, and usually about 99% of the time, they're not going to change their call. Rue will pull up and hits it. And one, as it looks like Edward Sanchez will pick up that one.
And this is why it's so important to capitalize when you have the opportunity, because Ecuador 2 straight opportunities at 3s, they miss it, and then Rue on the other side takes the contact and makes the basket.
Mateo Moncayo making his way back in, replacing Edward Sanchez. We've seen Moncayo have a little bit of a success from beyond the arc here this afternoon. He's got 2 3-pointers as he joins his older brother on the court, as well as Vallis, who is able to get it to Capurro. Vallis again driving, saw a small lane, couldn't get it to go. It's off the hands of Rivera, right to gun, as Andrade quickly makes his way up the court. Ten on the shot clock. In down low, all alone was Garibaldi. Team Ecuador caught ball watching. That's an easy 2 points for Team Panama. Lead up to 14. Vallis pulls up, can't hit it. Struggles continue from beyond the arc for Team Ecuador. It's Rue driving, tried to get it to Lombardo, but it's off of Rivera, out of play, and with 15 on the shot clock, Team Panama will get it underneath.
And I like how they're being active and aggressive on the defensive side, but no matter what they do defensively, they need to start hitting these shots that we know they can hit if they want to get back in this game.
through. Long 2 for him. Celebrated like it was a 3, but 2 points will do. Moncayo waiting for something to set up. Capurro right back to him. Open 3, off the mark. He's been cold here this afternoon, and the frustration continues for number 7 in white.
And you just said an open 3 for Michael Moncayo, a guy that's shot the ball so well in this tournament for Ecuador. One of the few bright spots for the team. 2 for 10 from the field, only 6 points, both of them beyond the 3-point line.
37.5% from beyond the arc in the first 5 contests for Michael Moncayo. Both of these teams looking for win number 1 this week. Winner will get 7th place. The loser will get 8th. Capurro. Guns on him, lost the handle for a second. Able to get it back as he's tripped up by Andrade on his way to the basket.
And again, active defense by Panama. Panama's playing a great game so far, a very complete game. I know they haven't shot the ball as well as they did earlier on in the first quarter and early second, but still defensively, nothing's changed the entire game.
Team Panama now in the bonus. Here as we close it out in the third quarter, 2:10 left to play. Ecuador with 3 team fouls here in the third frame. First one good from Capurro. Perfect trip to the line, number 13 in white. As Andrade looking to get a little bit of separation from Mateo Moncayo. Good job by him to stick with Andrade. Lombardo over Rivera. No good. Gunn on the rebound. What a play from John Gunn.
A ton of effort by John Gunn, and that's been the key to his game all tournament long. Always putting in that extra effort. A great offensive rebound. He's got a double-double.
Edward Sanchez ready to come back into the game for Team Ecuador as he takes a seat to our left. Michael kicked it out to his brother Mateo, whose 3 attempt well short of the mark. 55-39, Panama leads Team Ecuador. They have led most of the way here this afternoon in the first game on day 6.
And we've seen Ecuador kind of play like this in the second half throughout this entire tournament. The only difference is they didn't have the hot start in the first half that they've been having all week long.
14-13, Panama has outscored Ecuador in this third quarter, so it's been pretty close, but again, Ecuador has to figure out a way to get stops and get buckets at the other end. Lombardo will drive, using his size to his advantage, can't get it to go. Follow-up opportunity nowhere as well. Gunn, nice play to get the rebound. Shot clock back up to 14. And an offensive foul. It will be called on Gunn. It wasn't a stop for Ecuador, but you'll take it as they need to find out some way to get points on the board with just 1:08 left to go in this third quarter.
But we even saw in that possession that Panama, another opportunity at second chance points. It just feels like Panama wants this game a little bit more than Ecuador, and it doesn't help that Ecuador has just been ice cold from the field.
And I think we saw that in the warm-up a little bit. It looked like Team Panama, it looked like they were getting ready for their first game of the tournament against Puerto Rico, whereas Ecuador was a little bit more relaxed, not going through a tight warm-up, but their warm-up didn't look as intense as Team Panama's did.
And it could all be a credit to what happened yesterday. Panama almost beating Chile.
Definitely take a lot of confidence out of that game. If you're Team Panama, they are playing at their highest level that we've seen throughout this entire tournament. 55 points on the board so far here for them. Looking for a team high for the tournament, which was 61 just 24 hours ago. More than likely, they're going to get past that mark.
And one thing that we were wondering as this tournament was kind of going through is after the quarterfinals, we start getting to those consolation rounds, and we want to see how those teams are going to play and how they're going to perform. A team like Panama, they have had some really disappointing and embarrassing losses in this tournament. But the way they've rebounded, it's extremely impressive, especially because they're so young.
As the shot clock expired, it was Lopez unable to get the shot to fall. Thankfully, his teammates will pick him up. They picked up the offensive board. Borbua sets a pick for Sanger, who's back into the game. As he goes off the glass, the roll doesn't go his way, and it's Ecuador back up the court, ball out of bounds. And frustration starting to set in for Capurro as he slams the ball down at center court.
And you can just see that Ecuador is being very careless with the ball. They're not taking every possession almost seriously, because Capurro, he needs to be smarter, especially when you're so close to the sideline. On the flip side for Panama, it seems like almost every time they miss a shot, there's a guy looking to get the offensive board. So it just seems like the energy's there for Panama, and for Ecuador, it's just not been a great game.
Rude tried to find Randall Aguilar. The ball will find his team's bench as Aguilar will hit the floor for the first time this afternoon with 1.6 seconds left on the clock here. In this third quarter, they're gonna have to get a quick shot off if they can inbound it. They do, but it's Sanger coming up with it. There's the buzzer to end 30 minutes here at the Meridian Center, St. Catharines, first game of day 6. It's a 55-39 advantage in favor of Team Panama.
And the biggest difference in this game, the shooters for Ecuador just have not been efficient. 2 for 10 for Michael Moncayo, 2 for 8 for Mateo Moncayo. Aaron Capurro, who got it going a little bit early on in that third quarter, still shooting 5 for 12 from the field.
Team Panama have shown heart, they've shown hustle, and that is one of the reasons why they lead Team Ecuador 55-39 as the teams regroup. We'll regroup, come back for the fourth quarter at the Meridian Center.
Now that's how to mop the floor quickly.
Fourth quarter action in a couple of seconds here between Team Panama and Team Ecuador. 55-39, Panama leads Ecuador. And during that TV timeout, Joe, you're talking about one of the biggest differences in the game that you have seen. Joe, what is it?
Well, I think rebounds 42-23 for Panama. They've clearly just been out-hustling them on the boards. And another thing, right now, Ecuador only played 7 guys so far in this game. Panama, only Ricardo Lindo, who's hurt, hasn't played this game.
He is out with an elbow injury. Haven't seen him all tournament long. One of the huge reasons why Team Panama is in this tournament. But here today, there have been guys that have stepped up, and they really want to win badly as Capurro continues to miss from beyond the arc. Andrade looking for something to set up with Michael Moncayo on him. Andrade able to shake him off. Shot clock is down up to 5 as Lombardo puts it up, gets his own rebound. No good. Who's got it? That's Zefrin. Andrade, Lopez, Gunn, who's been the hot hand. Andrade dishes it off like he always does. Lombardo going up and drawing contact.
I like that play by Panama right there, getting inside, using the big man to an advantage for you. We mentioned right now they're out rebounding Ecuador almost double. So for them to get inside, I think that's a smart move for them to continue to keep this lead.
Lombardo 7.7 rebounds with 1 assist. First free throw good for him. Just under a minute played here in the final quarter. Winner of this game will finish 7th. The loser will fall to 8th. Second one no good for Lombardo. Michael Moncayo hasn't been the player that we've seen throughout the tournament. It may be fatigue as he's played a lot for this Ecuadorian team. Edward Sanchez off the mark. We've seen signs of life from him throughout the entire tournament. Again, another guy not getting it done. Capurro misses again. Moncayo pulls up from 3, off the mark. Team Ecuador, we've seen quite a bit of hustle here from them to start this, but shots just aren't dropping.
They had 3 open threes from their 3 best players on that possession. None of them went in. That's kind of the story of this game right now.
Andrade lost the handle as Moncayo stole it away. 2-2 coming back the other way. Sanchez able to get it to roll around and drop for 2. We approach the 2-minute mark of the final quarter. Lopez. Far side, no one home. It'll make its way into the seats. And a Team Panama timeout.
And if you're Ecuador, you got an easy basket there for Edward Sanchez on the other side. Panama turns the ball over. It's only a 15-point game with 8 minutes left. A couple good baskets, especially if you can somehow get it going behind the 3-point line. This could be anyone's game.
Moncayo can get hot, and he can get hot quickly. Capurro struggled all afternoon. Again, you mentioned earlier on in that third quarter, he made a couple shots to get things started for Ecuador. So we were kind of like, okay, this is the Capurro where we know that we've seen throughout this entire tournament. But then he just started to shoot the 3-ball again and hasn't been dropping, hasn't been able to find personal momentum for him, and he's shown frustration throughout the game.
And one interesting thing is we see here points from turnovers, 13-5 for Ecuador. Ecuador is actually capitalizing when Panama's turning the ball over. They just haven't been making the shots we expected them to make. Aaron Capurro, like you said, he started the third quarter playing the game that we want him to play, but he kind of got back to bad tendencies that he's kind of shown in this tournament. And it also doesn't help when a guy like Edward Sanchez or Michael Moncayo just aren't shooting the ball well today.
Capurro has played every minute in this game. Joining him as well, Kenning Rivera has played every minute. But you said they are rolling 7 guys on the Ecuador side of the court, whereas Team Panama, we saw them rolling about 7 or 8 guys during most of their games throughout the entire tournament. One guy hasn't played, Ricardo Lindo, and he hasn't played all tournament, so they are going with a full bench here, rotating everyone in, as you see Lombardo with the block on Moncayo off his hand and out of bounds.
And when you play a lot of guys and you give your starters some extra time to recuperate and just, get some more energy underneath them, this is when it shows, especially in the fourth quarter. And if you have a lead, plays like that where you're hustling for the ball on the floor, you don't get that when you play 35, 36 minutes.
Daniel Sanchez air ball as the shot clock expires. Gun in the corner, no good. Rebound by Lombardo, no good. Gets his own rebound, tried to go back up, couldn't get it to go. Zephyrin in the corner. Andrade, Lopez, Gun. Every man has touched the ball for Team Panama as Gun will drive and shoot 2. Going back to your point about spreading the minutes out for their starters, one thing I've noticed in the last couple games before warm-ups, Jesus Lombardo has gotten a little bit more stretching out, trying to get his lower body a little bit looser, because there have been a couple of times where he's fallen down and big men underneath, it happens to them, and wear and tear over the course of the tournament could be a factor, but Lombardo's minutes have been managed here in this one. A good job by the head coach of Team Panama, David Rosario.
And I think that's something not a lot of people talk about when you're dealing with a tournament like this. You know that you have to play 5, 6, 7 games in the course of a week, and you don't get a lot of rest, which means that you have to take care of your body and you have to make sure that you have enough energy, because this is when the most important games are being played, and it's the final stretch. So every single player has to make sure that they have enough in them and they're taking care of themselves to be prepared for the final day.
Tournament started Sunday. Each team with 3 round-robin games. Then a break on Wednesday, and the last 3 days have been filled with great elimination action. Unfortunately for these two teams, they're playing in the first game on the last day. But if you can finish off with a win, you always like finishing off with a win, whether it's getting 7th, 5th, 3rd, obviously first is fantastic. But if you're Team Panama or Team Ecuador, you can finish off this tournament for a win. That is huge.
And for both of these teams, we know that the expectation level wasn't very high going into this tournament. They know the talent that they have, and they know some of the teams that they would have to go up against. And I think both teams have shown a lot throughout this tournament, and it's looking like Panama will be getting this win. And if they do, what a way to finish it, especially, like we mentioned, the losses that they've had in this tournament. Without their star player, this would be huge for their country.
Lombardo spinning, couple of moves, no good. Just hasn't been there offensively for Team Ecuador. Sanchez waiting for an opportunity, but he's fouled underneath by Zephyrin.
And for Ecuador, obviously this game hasn't gone the way you want it to go, but there's still a ton to be proud of so far in this tournament. I love the energy still. You're down by 17 points right now. It's not gonna affect your game. They're still getting inside. They're willing to take the contact to get to the line to try to close this gap, and it's always impressive to see.
It will be Edward Sanchez at the line for Team Ecuador with just under 6 minutes to go in the first contest of the day. Up next, it's Team Chile up against Team Dominican Republic. Is a little bit of confusion at the scorer's table before Sanchez will take his shots. He will finally get the ball.
And these games should be interesting going into this final day. It feels like the matchups are going to be a lot of fun because Dominican and Chile, I think they match up really well. I think especially in terms of talent level. We obviously have Puerto Rico and Argentina playing for bronze. They were the only teams that have been able to compete with the USA and Canada so far in this tournament. And then obviously the game that everyone's going to be talking about, the gold medal game, USA and Canada.
The Meridian Center quickly fills up ticket-wise for that final game, Canada-US. Right here at 8:15. 3-ball continuing to be an issue for Team Ecuador. But I think one thing that goes against Team Chile, late in their game yesterday against Panama, it was Maxwell Lloyd getting ejected from the game, and we sort of thought Team Panama would come out of that one as catching a break because of it, but Team Chile won't have Lloyd today.
And if you are Chile and the Dominican Republic, just kind of like this game from what we saw, you want to make sure that you go in and start strong and play fast, because every single one of these games matter, because your country's across your chest. You're playing for the country that you probably dreamed of playing if you wanted to play basketball since you were a young kid. So I think it's important for every team to come out playing as strong as they can on this final day.
And with a guy like Jonathan Andrade on the court right now, hasn't been the scorer that we saw in the first game. He sat the US game off, and then just has been a guy that has been racking up assists, not scoring, maybe only getting like, what, 2, 3, 4 points a game. But you need a guy that can dish the ball off and rack up the assists. He's been the guy since every game after the US.
And I think everyone always looks at the point totals after the game, but you can affect a game in a ton of ways, maybe even ways that you don't see on the box score. So for Jonathan Andrade, he plays with a lot of heart, only 5'6", but still coming out and competing every single day for Panama, even when things were looking rough for them. It's good to see him get his teammates involved and let other players like John Gunn, who you see 18 points, 16 rebounds in this game. One of the reasons he's got good looks is because they got unselfish teammates.
It's a 15-point lead for Team Panama. Yes, it's possible for Ecuador to get back in this game, but they'll have to start scoring, and they'll have to start scoring quickly, as Rivera was unable to come up with the rebound. Gunn pushed out a play by Sanchez.
And obviously disappointing for Ecuador because we've seen them play better in this tournament. And against a team like Panama, we kind of expected, because size wouldn't really be too much of an issue, they would play with a lot of heart. They have a ton of guys who can score, so this could be the game that they finally get their win. It just, in a situation like this, Panama just came out with a little bit more, and that's the reason why they're up by 15 right now.
The intensity and energy was on the side of Team Panama for sure. Gunn, step back, no good. Shots continue to be off the mark for Ecuador as pulling up is Capurro. That's usually the shot that we know of him taking and being able to make those shots, but they're just not falling for him today. And over the course of 24 hours, very easily for a player to go cold, as they're gonna call an offensive foul.
And again, I know this is for 7th place. This isn't the biggest game of the tournament, but if you are Panama, how proud do you have to be able to look where it looks like you're going to get a win? I've said that they've had some disappointing losses in this tournament, and for them to come out and show up the way they have in these past 2 games, it's just been an incredible story.
Team Ecuador will call a timeout with just under 4 to play here in this first game on day 6 of the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship. We'll take a timeout as well and come back to the Meridian Center in St. Catharines. Advantage Team Panama. They lead by 15 and they've led most of the way here this afternoon, looking for win number 1 this week at the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship in St. Catharines, Ontario. First time the tournament has ever been held up here in the Great White North. Thankfully, it is not white outside. We have no snow. Thankfully, it's June. With 3:52 left to go in this one. Take a look at shooting. Been a problem all afternoon long. 24% for Team Ecuador.
And you can probably point out 4 or 5 things that really went into the advantage of Panama in this game. Rebounds were an issue for Ecuador. Their shooters just not making shots. The bench coming in for Panama and playing well, as opposed to Ecuador, who really had to stick with their starters. A ton of things that just went Panama's way. And it's why we feel probably very confident it's going to be hard for Ecuador to get out of this hole.
Moncayo, one of those guys that have shot the 3-ball well and been a standout for Team Ecuador. Just not getting them to fall this afternoon. The man with the ball up to Sanchez. That was Capurro. Not getting them to go as well as Team Ecuador. Looking at the full court press, but it's Aaron Capurro with a foul along the sideline.
And for Ecuador, what's most important for these final 3 minutes is just to finish this tournament the way that you've started most of your games. Play hard, hustle, make sure that you're efficient from the field, and make sure you're getting everyone involved on the offensive side.
It is still only a 13-point lead for Team Panama. Yeah, it reads 3:16 on the big scoreboard, but you know, if Gunn misses both these free throws, anything's possible. And
I don't want to be negative, because you're right, it is only a 13-point game. It could be a 15-point game if John Gunn makes these 2 shots. But the issue with Ecuador right now is with time starting to run out. You can't really miss these shots that they've been missing all game long. And especially because the shots that they've been getting, they've been good looks. It just doesn't seem like Ecuador is really on their game, as, you know, John Gunn misses both free throws. You're right, maybe there is a chance, but we're gonna have to see them make a couple of baskets here to really kind of have a sense of belief that there's an opportunity.
And they'll have to go for 2s. They have not shot the 3 well today, but Lopez comes back the other way, goes off the glass. We have less than 3 minutes to go. If they want a chance, they'll have to score now. Capurro, ooh, there's a 3 for Capurro. And that's what you want if you're a fan of Team Ecuador. .12-point lead. Things may be getting a little bit interesting here at the end of this one. Full court press is on. Moncayo able to keep it in. Ooh, Sanchez, not a smart pass to Moncayo. There was a sea of red in between Sanchez and Moncayo. Not a smart play. 2 1/4 to go. Lombardo using his size, no good. Rivera with the rebound. As Michael's brother Mateo sits beside us, ready to come on. Capurro with another 2, lead down to 10.
And I mentioned they need to make a couple of baskets. That's exactly what they've done in this past minute.
They do, though, have 5 fouls. Great job by Team Panama on clock management, working that 24 seconds. As they're left with 3, they will inbound it underneath, but Team Panama will talk about things before they do. Just over a minute and a half to go, 61-51. Things are getting interesting in this one between Team Panama and Team Ecuador. Winner will finish 7th in this week's tournament. It's 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship at the Meridian Center. We'll come back to St. Catharines in a moment.
Niagara, acres of vineyards and the award-winning wines of the Niagara College Teaching Winery. Craft beer from the Niagara College Teaching Brewery. Fresh farm-to-table cuisine from Benchmark Restaurant. Savor Canada's most unique learning experience at the internationally renowned Canadian Food and Wine Institute at Niagara College.
Ten-point lead in favor of Team Panama. They lead Team Ecuador, but Team Ecuador is making things interesting. 3 seconds for Team Panama to get a shot off. Lopez. And it won't drop. If you're Ecuador, you'll have to score quickly. Time is not on your side. Panama with fouls to give. Off the hands of Lopez, out of play. 12 seconds on the shot clock.
I can almost see that Panama almost sees the pass before it's actually happening. Ecuador has to get a little bit more creative on the offensive side.
Capurro trying to use his size, can't get it to go. Who's it off? It's off of Ecuador, and that's not what you want to see. The substitution here for Team Panama coming on for them is number 2, Duque.
Seems like they're taking out some size right now, Panama, to try to maybe bring a little bit more of an advantage in terms of ball movement.
And quick ball movement from Team Panama. You called it. And he stepped out of bounds, or nope, we have a foul. It's gonna be on Jonathan Andrade. Still a 10-point advantage with 1:06 to go. The timeouts continue to come as this time it's Team Ecuador wanting to talk things over.
And in a situation like this, a minute and 4 seconds left in the game, Ecuador, they're gonna have to start hitting their perimeter shots.
Take a look at the Jonathan Andrade foul that led to the turnover. He got his hand up in the face of Mateo Moncayo. The official is all over that one. And that's what you want to see if you're Team Ecuador. You want the ball to be in your hands with a minute and 6 to go, but they're gonna have to score quickly. They don't have a lot of time. And with Team Panama having fouls to give, also a disadvantage.
And Panama has kept Ecuador in this game because they've turned the ball over so much. Imagine if Michael Moncayo just hit a couple of his shots, 2 for 15 in the game, 6 points.
Both teams have made their way back onto the floor. It will be Mateo Moncayo to inbound. Andrade on him. Gonna have to do it quickly, and they do. It's Capurro. Thought about the three, didn't take it, decides to drive. Lombardo is back in the game for Team Panama, going up. Off the glass, couldn't get it to go, but Rivera will head to the line and shoot two.
And it's great that he's getting to the line, but how big of a shot would that have been if he has an opportunity at an and one?
2 fouls on the afternoon for Gunn. Clock stops. Can't hit the first one. Rivera's got to get it within a 3-possession game. And he can't do it. 0 for 2 on the trip to the line. Andrade. They are definitely going to use all 24 seconds of this shot clock. Lopez. Dagger.
For Panama, what a huge way to close out this tournament, up 13 with 35 seconds left. What a great game.
Another timeout taken with 35 seconds left on the clock. Lopez hits the three, and more than likely icing on the cake in this one as they lead by 13.
And the one thing that we mentioned about Edward Lopez was how huge he is, especially in big moments for Panama, and that was the moment for them in this game.
We'll finish the other 35 seconds of the contest on the other side. They take a timeout, and we'll take a timeout.
Now that's how to mop the floor quickly.
Ecuador basketball, last 35 seconds. Vallis off the mark. Ball was making its way to Capurro. Lombardo had other thoughts as he intercepted it. Lopez lost the handle for a second. Able to find Lombardo, nice play there. And Panama continues to put points on the board, the most they have had this week, 66. Moncayo, been the story of the afternoon for him. Time will tick down. There's the buzzer. It is Team Panama coming out on top, getting their first win of the week. They will finish 7th. Ecuador will fall to 8th. It's a 66-51 final.
And what an impressive game by Panama. Really attacking this game in so many ways. On the boards, they were dominant against Ecuador. They were making those shots when it mattered most. And I think being able to rely on your bench was a huge reason why Panama was able to pick up this win.
That is only the first one of the day of this very important and exciting 6th day of the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship. Of course, it's the Dominican Republic against Team Chile next. They will decide the 5th and 6th spots of the tournament. As the final statistics come up on your screen, you see there some advantages, some disadvantages. Game leaders, Capurro still at 22 points, Gunn with 18 for Panama.
18 rebounds as well for Gunn. Capurro had 11, so they both played well. Capurro just wasn't making the smarter shots at times, and Ecuador really, at the end of the day, needed to make those open threes, especially from guys like Michael Moncayo, because Panama, they turned the ball over. They gave Ecuador opportunities to keep themselves in this game. Like we said, it was only a 10-point game with 2 minutes left, so Ecuador had their opportunity to win this game, and I think they showed a lot in this tournament despite going winless. They should be proud of how they played throughout this week.
Moncayo averaged 17.2 points a game. He only had 6 today. It's a 66-51 final in favor of Team Panama. We'll step aside, come back with an interview.
Now that's how to mop a floor quickly.
Welcome back to the Meridian Center, St. Catharines, Ontario. We've received the final stat sheets, Joe, and you know, we harped a lot on Capurro in this game here, but he had 22, so can't really fault him for this loss as he got his job done, but I think the man of the hour is Mr. John Gunn. He's standing by with our very own Anthony Gallo.
John, dominant game tonight, 18 and 18. Can you explain what you saw out there, allow you to have such a dominant game?
Yeah, I mean, just like yesterday, I made a couple threes and I decided to go to the basket. I got fouled a lot, so I got some good free throws. And then on the defensive end, I was just going after the boards. I mean, I took pride in getting rebounds today, offensively as well. So I think it was just, honestly, a state of mind, just going after it.
You guys have had a rough tournament so far. It's got to feel good to get one to end on a good note, eh?
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, we haven't gone the way we've wanted, but today was fun to end on a win. The last Panamanian team, our age group, that came this far, they didn't win a game, so it's a step up from that last tournament 23 years ago. So it's a pride for us to get one win at least.
I was talking to your dad in the first half in the stands there. He was talking about how proud you are, how proud he is of you, and how proud he is of you to represent Panama. Can you just explain what that means to you?
Yeah, I mean, I've had great parents. They've been through it all with me, through the ups and downs. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am now playing for Panama. So I love them, and I thank them for everything they've done for me and for the opportunities they've given me.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Go celebrate with your team.
John Gunn has been impressive all tournament long for Panama. 18 points, 18 rebounds today. The biggest reason why Panama was able to pick up a win.
They will finish as the 7th seed, Ecuador, the 8th seed. Team Chile, Team Dominican Republic have made their way onto the court. They are up next. That game underway just after 2:15. For Joe D'Agostino and all of our crew, I'm Reese Dumaney. We'll see you back here in a couple of minutes.